Good morning. Welcome to First Congregational Church of Sonoma. My name is Kathy Weber and I am your moderator. I'm blessed to be the moderator of this very special church, and over the past recent days I've become more connected to almost every one of you. The Spirit of God is moving within us. Can I hear an amen? Amen. At this time, I would like to invite our HR team up to join me up front. Kim Pack as our vice moderator, Barbara Cook as our secretary, Barry Tanis, who is out of town, is our treasurer, Joan Howard, who is representing the Pastoral Relations Committee, and Margie Mitchell, who is representing our Spirit Life team. Last Tuesday, April 18th, our Associate Conference Minister for the Northern California Nevada Conference, Reverend Dr. Celeste Fields, discerning that Reverend Reichert's call to serve First Congregational Church of Sonoma had not reached its rightful conclusion, asked Curran to reconsider rescinding her resignation. FCC's Human Resource Team, which are the officers of this church, along with representation from Spirit Life and Pastoral Relations, met with Reverend Davina Jones, our Bridge Conference Minister, Reverend Dr. Celeste Fields, and Pastor Curran. We discussed what actions needed to be taken in order for Curran to remain as our minister with us. It is clear that Curran's ministry has an overwhelming support of this congregation. That was going to happen in just another minute. With help from the conference and support from our consultant, Reverend Dr. Trace Haythorne, we believe that the issues that led to Curran's resignation can be resolved. Our HR team will lead this effort. It is with joy and thanksgiving that we gather here today to celebrate the intervention of the Holy Spirit to keep our dear Reverend Curran in ministry with us.
Amen.
Curran, we are grateful for your discernment and willingness to continue to walk this faith journey with us. Next Sunday, Trace Haythorne will be with us during our 10:30 service and will lead a discussion regarding his findings from our March 12th congregational meeting. Then, throughout the month of May, we will provide abbreviated services on Sunday mornings, both at the 8:30 and 10:30 service, to be followed by ongoing conversations concerning the future of our church community. We do have work to be done, and we're going to do it together. We hope that you will all participate with us next Sunday and throughout the summer when we work together to resolve our differences and create a new world for us all together. Thank you for your support.
Let's sing together, shall we? My life flows on in endless song. How can I keep from singing? Let's stand. me in the grounding in place. Friends of God, we come into the presence of God to be stilled in heart.
We come to be inspired through imagination.
With believing hands, we reach out to receive.
With eyes open to new perspectives, we will learn how to live in the free and spiritual ways of Christ.
God of broad earth and deep sky, you delight us with your nearness. You astonish us through the ordinary ways you make yourself known. May delight enrich our gathering today, so that gratitude carries us onto roads of grace, goodness, and compassion.
Well, it's an interesting turn of events here, and this service was written for our goodbye. It's interesting how relevant it is for our new beginning. So it is unusual for me to include a prayer of confession in our liturgy, but it is appropriate today. So let us join our voices and our hearts in these words. When all seems lost and circumstances leave us feeling empty and afraid, God of unwavering hope,
may the words of life burn in our hearts.
When trust seems impossible and our eyes remain tightly closed to the constant inbreaking of spirit, God of unwavering faith,
may the words of life burn in our hearts.
When our spirits feel dry and listless, and where hurt or resentment creates barriers to human care and friendship, God of unwavering love,
may the words of life burn in our hearts.
Hear these words of affirmation, beloved. Fellow travelers alive to God's constant word of faith, hope and love, may we journey into life in new ways. I know, she popped right on her head. Sometimes new ways hurt a little bit. May we take God's gift of presence, peace, and forgiveness to heart, receive it gladly, live it with passion and boldness. Christ is risen.
Christ is risen indeed.
Hallelujah. Well, beloved, there's work to do. There's work to do in our community. There's work to do in the broader community, and the ministries that your resources support make a difference in this world. So give today from a glad and grateful place. Give today to support the wide and broad ministries of our congregation. And now we'll switch to the other song we were going to sing, which was God's Eyes on the Sparrow, 475. I'll give you a second. I shall be discouraged. Why should the shadows come? Why should my heart be lonely? And generous gifts, may they be a blessing to the world around us. May our love be transformed into action. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. There she is.
I've asked my husband George to join me so that you're not hearing my voice all the time. He's got a great voice. This is taken from Luke chapter 24, verses 13 to 35. Now, that very day, 2 of them were on their way to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem. They were talking to each other about all the things that had happened. And I think that little one was talking to them too. While they were talking and debating these things, Jesus himself approached and began to accompany them, but their eyes were kept from recognizing them. Then he said to them, "What are these matters you are discussing so intently as you walk along?" And they stood still, looking sad.
Then one of them, named Cleopas, answered him, "Are you the only visitor to Jerusalem who doesn't know the things that have happened there in these days?" He said to them, "What things?" "The things concerning Jesus the Nazarene," they replied, "a man who with his powerful deeds and words proved to be a prophet before God and all the people, and how our chief priests and leaders handed him over to be condemned to death and crucified him. But we had hoped that he was the one who was going to redeem Israel. Not only this, but it is now the 3rd day since these things happened."
Furthermore, some women of our group amazed us.
Yes, they did.
They were at the tomb early this morning, and when they did not find his body, they came back and they had seen a vision of angels who said he was alive. Then some of those who were with us went to the tomb and found it just as the women had said, but they did not see him.
So he said to them, "You foolish people, how slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Wasn't it necessary for the Christ to suffer these things and enter into his glory? Then, beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them the things written about himself in all the scriptures."
So they approached the village where they were going. He acted as though he wanted to go further, but they urged him, "Stay with us, because it is getting toward evening and the day is almost done." So he went in to stay with them. When he had taken his place at the table with them, he took the bread, blessed and broke it, and gave it to them.
At this point, their eyes were opened and they recognized him. Then he vanished out of their sight. They said to each other, "Didn't our hearts burn within us while he was speaking with us on the road, while he was explaining the scriptures to us?"
So they got up that very hour and returned to Jerusalem. They found the 11 and those with them gathered together and saying, "The Lord has really risen and has appeared to Simon." Then they told what had happened on the road and how they recognized him when he broke the bread. May we ponder the wonder and possibility of these words for our lives.
We've got an extra large choir today with the addition of our wonderful instrumentalists. and we're going to be singing For the Beauty of the Earth. Feel free to sing along. We're just going to repeat the first verse over and over. So sing whatever you want.
like I was headed off on my own, George gave me a very important guidepost. It's a Jesus on a Spring. He's here with us. He fits right here in this pulpit hole, so yes. Jesus is on the go, friends. Jesus is on the go. Let's pray together. Speak to us, God, when we are listening. Speak to us, God, where we are waiting for your voice. Speak to us, God, in our hearts and all around. Tell us what can be, what can be. How many Vicar of Dibley fans do we have in the room? All right. So it's a British television show, 5 series about a vicar who gets sent to a rural community in England, and of course, a woman vicar is unusual, and so when she is introduced to the perplexed parishioners, she says famously, "So, you were expecting a bloke? Bad breath? Bible? What you got was a babe with a bob and a magnificent bosom." Most of us were expecting today to be a somber affair, a memorial of sorts to an end to a ministry's untimely demise. What we have instead is a new beginning, and a babe with a bob and a magnificent bosom. If you're feeling a little confused, a little whim-whammed, a little not sure what's going on here, you're not alone. That's how the Spirit rolls. She does not work on deadlines. She does not take no for an answer. And she scoffs at the plans we so dutifully make, especially if they are not in service to the truth. Here's the truth. I am with you this morning not for a service of release, but because I heard you loud and clear. You said the ministry we share together is not over. You said post-pandemic we were just getting started and there's so much work to be done. You said if you'd only known what had been going on, you would have put a stop to it. I tried to say respectful goodbyes. You wouldn't let me. It happened repeatedly. Goodbyes felt wrenching, not just sad, but morose. And that's not the way a complete ministry feels. Parting is always sad, of course, but when something is complete, there's also a gladdening of hearts. Friends, there has been no joy in Mudville for weeks. So when the call came from the conference asking that I reconsider rescinding my resignation, because they too had a hunch that this ministry was not over, it was like my heart started beating again. I know that sounds dramatic, but that's what it felt like. I could finally exhale and begin to breathe again. We have laughingly referred to ourselves as the Church of Second Chances. Well, all right then, let's give this ministry a second chance. And everyone here gets to decide whether or not you wish to be a part of the ministry that is. We all must make that choice because it will only work if we are all in it together. Amen? Amen. It reminds me of the Pentecost story, which does not come up until the end of May, but it appears to me it has come a little early for us this year. On the day we call Pentecost, the birthday of the church, people from all over were gathered for a Jewish festival. they thought was going to look one way and ended up looking entirely different. Hundreds of Jewish faithful gathered to celebrate the Festival of Weeks, which has all kinds of significance and parallels and connections between our community and our brothers and sisters of Congregation Shir Shalom, but we'll talk about that at the end of May. On the day of Pentecost, more than 70 languages were being spoken. There was food and wine and happy mayhem when the Holy Spirit made an appearance at the party and lit a flame in people's hearts. All of a sudden, those who had spoken and not been understood were heard and understood. Everyone heard and understood that the Spirit is alive and well in our hearts and in our midst. And when that happens, you can feel it, right? Cleopas and his pal are walking on the road to Emmaus, feeling what most of us were feeling last week, like, man, what the hell just happened? When out of the blue, our 11th hour God showed up and said, hey, fellas, why so glum? I love this story. There's so many ways to approach it, and still so much to get out of it. But what I hear this morning is that our God is a God of possibilities, not dead ends. Amen. Our God is a way out of no way kind of God. What I also hear this morning is that God's revelation happens bit by bit, not all at once. I love that story about Elisha who runs up into the hills and hides in a cave in order to get away from the call that's been placed on his life. And all of a sudden this big wind, rushing wind, and the Spirit goes by and he catches the tail end. A glimpse of the butt of God. Because that's about what we can handle. We couldn't take it all at once. Remember, the resurrection of Jesus was recognized in stages. Yeah, I mean, we have this book where it makes it look like it all happened in order, but it was messy. It was uncomfortable. It was unclear, as beginnings that come out of deaths are wont to be. The road ahead will take patience. It takes patience to be part of a holy unfolding. As Kathy mentioned, next week you'll hear from our esteemed consultant, Trace Hawthorne. He'll share some details about the conversation you had last month. I will not be there for that. But I will be with you from there on. We'll have abbreviated worship services, and then we'll sit down and try to talk this stuff out together, yeah? Mm-hmm. Which is probably where we should have started. The other thing I know is that once I was given permission to do so, my creative brain got busy thinking about all the exciting things we can do to reinforce the bonds we share as community, and it's not just me, friends. Others are feeling unleashed, free to dream again, free to laugh again, feeling energized and excited to see what will happen, huh?
Yes.
Beloved, our God has made a way out of no way, and for that we can rejoice. There is cleanup work to be done, and for sure, there'll be time for that. But today, it is enough to be happy. It is enough to rejoice that we came to the edge and saw a better way forward. Today we celebrate the resurrected Christ that lives in our hearts, that lives in what happens between us and all around us. This is the day that our God has made. Let us rejoice and be glad. Amen. That it's me again, Let's take a moment to share our joys, even as we open our hearts to hold one another's concerns. Even as we are aware of the pain and the destruction in our world, even as we are aware of those who are hungry and homeless, let's take a moment to be in our joy and to share the joys of our hearts alongside our prayers. Would anyone like to share?
This prayer has been on my heart most of the week. That's obviously another hymn, but grant us wisdom and grant us courage for the living of these days.
Yes, indeed. And I just want to thank the members of Shir Shalom who are here today, because you are my heart. And one of the goodbyes that didn't feel right was when I stood in front of you at Passover and I just wanted to bawl my eyes out.
We did too.
I know. So you made part of this happen, and so I am grateful to you, and I look so forward to the new and exciting ways that our partnership on this campus will evolve.
Vita's stepmom, a lot of you have met Mama Vi, so when she heard the news, all day, it was, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But she wasn't saying it silently. She was saying it with full Baptist spirit. And so, Curran, she wants to let you know that she loves you and so happy that this has happened for you.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Mama Vi. Tyler's crying. This is also her fault. You know, Tyler and Stephen sat in our living room and said, this is our church. I'm not going to give up on this church. Please don't give up on this church. So we're here to make your church again, Tyler.
Your Tyler.
Yes. Yes.
We live in a world of conflict, and it seems that maybe there has been some within our own church, so I'm just asking for a prayer of settlement and peace, and then we can move forward.
Amen. Prayers for peace. Prayers for peace for this congregation. And our beloved Angela, the reason things might be not as you expect them, she had a situation with her ankle that she is in a lot of pain and sees a surgeon on Tuesday. So prayers for Angela. Things will be different in the office. This is kind of a wonky week. She said, we'll just agree that it's a lost week in the office. So be gentle in your requests of her.
This is another prayer of gratitude. Vic and I went to San Francisco on Friday to have dinner with our daughter Natalie, who's turned 44, and she's the one you all prayed for so long ago. She's doing very well now, so thank you.
Amen. Yeah, you know, this is one of the great joys of being in congregation together. We witness one another's concerns, our heart aches, and our joys, and our children. Yeah, and our children. I want to welcome especially today Judith Walsh, who is here on behalf of Sonoma Overnight Support, and a dear friend of mine, Reverend Kim Smith, who retired Methodist pastor, who is one of my rocks, and two other rock heads over there, Jeff and John, retired Presbyterian minister, retired Catholic priest, both very dear to my heart. Katie is here with us this morning, and it's good to see her. And, you know, all of you who are bringing yourselves out of the woodwork, you know who you are. I won't embarrass you. But I hope you're here to stay. I hope you're here to stay. Any other prayers? And Jean, I missed you, Jean. How could I miss Jean? Thank you for being here. Bless you.
Prayers of gratitude for our moderator, Kathy Weber.
Amen, amen. Palm Sunday, I said, "You're the one on the donkey now." And we did send her into Jerusalem, and she held steady, and learned a lot, and built a lot of relationships. And so for you, we are indeed grateful. I thought today,
Curran,
yes.
one more.
Hi.
I have to say it. My name is Ron Goldman from Shir Shalom, and my wife Lori and I came here to say goodbye to Curran. On Passover, we heard the news, and I think all of us thought, what is going on with FCC? Because our congregation dearly loves Curran, and when we found out the news last night, we gave so much gratitude, and we're so happy for all of you because she is a real gem, and we love her as much as you do.
We got work to do, Avi.
Of course, we always have work to do.
There will be parties, and
Of course.
Rabbi Steve was here a minute ago. He might have popped back up. Good to have had him as well. I thought today the appropriate prayer would be the piece that was written by Kent Keith and is said to have been found next to Mother Teresa's bedside when she died. And I'd love for us to read it together. So for all the blessings, for all the struggles, for all the prayers and concerns on our hearts, we know God is with us. And together we say, people are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some false friends and some true enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and frank, people may cheat you. Be honest and frank anyway. What you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous. Be happy anyway. Amen. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have. It may never be enough. Give the world the best you got anyway. You see, in the final analysis, it's between you and God. It was never between you and them. Anyway. Amen. This was meant to be a goodbye song. It's just as easily a regathering song. You'll learn the chorus by the time we get to it. Let it go, my love, my truest. Let it sail on silver wings. Life's a twinkling, that's for certain. It's such a fine thing. There's a gathering of spirits. There's a festival of friends. And we'll take up where we left off. And we all meet again. We can't explain it. I couldn't if I tried. How the only things we carry are the things we hold inside. Way out in the water, there's glory all around. And the wise say there's 1,000 ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Oh, let it go, my love, my truest. Let it sail on silver wings. Life's a twinkling, that's for certain. But it's such a fine thing. There's a gathering of spirits. There's the festival of friends. And we'll take up where we left off. We all meet again. Oh yeah, now always say there's 1,000 ways